Day Sandhills shooter here. Got some driving time that I'm doing at work, and so I thought, what better thing to do than go live? But I got something specific I want to talk about. Mostly what I want to do is just kind of ramble a little bit, give people a chance to sound off as we discuss this. But I want to talk about something. It's been bugging me, kind of nagging at my mind a while. And rather than try and find time at night to put my thoughts together and get a video, I just thought, what the heck, we'll go live. Where I'm driving now, I should have a pretty decent signal the rest of the way back to work here. So we'll give this a whirl here. But I want to talk about little Timmy. Now, before I start talking about little Timmy, understand that little Timmy's not a specific child, not a real person. Whenever I'm talking about people and I talk about a child, I always say either little Timmy or little Susie, depending on the gender. But just in general here, what I want to talk about is little Timmy. Little Timmy's a smart little kid. And over the years, little Timmy has figured out a few things as far as being able to get what he wants. When little Timmy was really little, he wanted a pet. But the problem is, little Timmy, his parents lived in a house that was pretty small, and he knew that. He was a smart kid. He didn't want a big pet. But he wasn't sure he had a chance. Hold on here, I got a stop sign. He wasn't sure he had a chance of getting a pet at all. So what does little Timmy do, being the smart little whippersnapper that he is? He asks mom and dad for a really, really big pet. Thinking, like a Great Dane or a St. Bernard dog, or something like that. And of course, mom and dad said, no, Timmy, we just can't. We can't do that. We don't have the room. Our house is too small. Maybe it was a rental house, doesn't matter. Little Timmy knew this whole time he wasn't getting that dog. What little Timmy really wanted was something like a hamster or a guinea pig, something small that he could just have in a cage in his room. But he knew that the way to do that was to ask for something that was out of the question. No, Timmy, you can't have a dog. Can we get a horse? No, Timmy, we can't get a horse. Well, how about just like a hamster? Well, yeah. A little bit later in life, Timmy's a little older. He's getting his driver's license. Timmy wants to get a car. He just wants a car in general, just to have one, just to drive around, haul his buddies around, do whatever. So he finds this car that he really likes. It's only a couple $1,000s, but he doesn't have the money to cover it. He's going to have to talk to mom and dad. So what does little Timmy do? He starts talking about Mustangs and Corvettes and really, really expensive. Hey, Nightwolf, we're talking about little Timmy. Little Timmy, or I guess now we should say teenage Timmy, huh? Timmy decides that he's going to tell mom and dad that he wants to get a Corvette or a Mustang or something, it's going to be lots of thousands of dollars. Knowing full well the answer to that question is going to be, of course, heck no. So after a few months of pining away, letting mom and dad know what kind of car he wants and all this kind of stuff, and getting told no and shut down at every opportunity, he finally says, well, how about this car here? It's only $3,000. It's got, it's an older, like a Crown Victoria style car, something like that. He goes, it ought to be pretty safe. And mom and dad said, well, yeah, Timmy, we can do that one. And do you have enough in your savings? And Timmy said no. And mom and dad said, well, we can help out. And it was going to be, a car they could pay cash for, and a car that wasn't going to be super expensive to insure. So little Timmy is known his whole life, with the pet, with the car, everything in life. Little Timmy's known that if you want to get something that big, The first thing you do is go after something that big, and when you get told no, then you work your way back down to where you wanted to be all along. Now, that's not necessarily a problem. In fact, that's just a smart kid. And smart kids, I think we don't have enough of those today. But the reason I wanted to talk about little Timmy is because I see that going on right now with losing my rights. Because we've got people that are, don't get me wrong, the people on the other side of the argument from where I stand, they would love to gun ban and just get rid of all the guns in my country. They would love to completely just repeal the Second Amendment. And they know that that's probably not ever going to happen, and they're aware of this. They're not stupid, guys. So what do? They start asking for really big stuff like that, and then when the whole country gets all riled up about it and say, well, you're right, but how about something that we don't really need, like bump stocks? Let's get rid of those. Oh, okay, yeah, let's get rid of the bump stocks. Yeah, those things are dumb anyway. Nobody needs that. We want to get rid of all the guns. You're not going to take my guns. Well, how about if we just do away with those scary-looking black rifles? Oh, well, yeah, that makes some sense. We still keep our guns. We just get rid of those guns. They look like, scary military guns anyway, so why would anybody need that, And so the gun grabbers and the people that want to get rid of firearms in this country, they're little Timmy. They know how this game was played. They've been playing this a long time. And I think we need to wake up to the fact that they may or may not eventually get to their final end game. They may or may not eventually get rid of the Second Amendment entirely and get rid of all of our guns, legally anyway, entirely. But they're just going to keep asking for that little hamster. They're just going to keep asking for that little $3,000 car. And we're just going to, are we going to be dumb enough to keep saying, well, yeah, that makes sense. That's a compromise that I think we can afford to make. Are we going to be dumb enough to compromise all of our rights away until pretty soon there's nothing left to give away? I hope not. But that's the problem that I have. I see this happening all the time with lawmakers, even with some of our lobbying groups. Secret, I'm no fan of organization. Right, my work is and wording this to where it looks like they're trying to do us some good, but I tell you what, my philosophy, not one more inch. Hope you guys feel the same way. But I wanted to get little Timmy's example out there. So if anybody has any comments or things like that, get him an older Mustang. That's a good one. Wait. Yeah. No, the point is not that Timmy needs a Mustang. The point is that Timmy knew exactly what he was doing the whole time. So, those of you that are jumping in now, you just missed my little rant about little Timmy. So hopefully you'll go back and catch this from the beginning. But now I'm just driving, so I guess we can chat, we can talk. I'll do my best to catch your questions. I'm alone today. Had to make a road trip for work, and I'm heading back. I know you guys get tired of the buffering, so I had to wait until I was at such a part of the world where there shouldn't be too much or any at all, hopefully none. But I see Night Wolves out there. If you don't make a comment, I don't know you're watching. I can see that there's 7 people that says watching, and I got a couple thumbs up, and that turned off, guys. There's some of that. Here, maybe if I flip the camera around, you guys can see some of this beautiful Nebraska farmland we got. There we go. I know you guys are probably tired of looking at my face. I know I was. What else is happening besides that little rain? Not much. It's a work day. You guys have probably noticed over the last couple days I don't have my funky neck brace on. I went back to the doctor yesterday and they took some x-ray. It wasn't actually the surgeon who saw me. It was, I think she's more like a PA. I guess I didn't catch her exact title, but she's more like a PA. But she was reviewing my x-rays and she said that everything looks perfect, was the word she used. So I was pretty happy to hear that. She said, I said, what pain? I haven't really had any. Water on the refuge lakes, that's not that far from where I came from, but it's not close to where I live now. I have not been out on the water. I don't have a boat or get out on boats very often. I have a friend who's got one. Sometimes he takes his out, but normally I'm not where he is when he's out on that boat. So I haven't got to go out on it more than once. What was that? Great land on either side of me. Yeah, it's really greening up. Guys are getting their fertilizer down right now. I've met a dry floater. For those of you that know farming, a dry floater is just a big old 3 or 4 wheeled machine. It's got huge, like, monster truck tires, so it doesn't sink into the mud. It just kind of floats over the top, sprays granulated fertilizer on the fields. So there was a guy coming back into the town that I just left here a while ago. I've seen a few of them spraying out in the fields on the way through here. But you can kind of tell here by the terrain. I mean, we're not in a flat part of the world here. A lot of rolling hills, mostly farm ground where this is right here. The other day on my road trip last Saturday, you got to see kind of both. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. The first anniversary chat it was. But no, I haven't even got my fishing license yet. I need to sometime here soon. It's warming up now, and that kind of takes my mind off of... Usually it's like flipping a switch. Usually my brain switches from hunting to fishing when it warms up. But that's changed a little bit. Those of you that are following along and saw what I got for my anniversary present from Sandhills Sweetheart, I'll tell you what, that not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking maybe a card might know what to expect, but I wasn't expecting anything like that. And for those of you that haven't been following along, and we're back. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to drop off like that, didn't expect it. I figured where I am right now, this wasn't going to be a problem. I guess I'll learn. But no, Sandhills Sweetheart gave me a Browning X-Bolt in 270, and not just any X-Bolt, but the beautiful maple stock. When this is over, you can go to Travis P11 and check out this last Saturday's caliber corner. I put it up at the beginning of the video there, showed it off on the camera. You can go see pictures of it on my Instagram and my Facebook, Sandhills Shooter. If you're on Instagram, make sure you get both S's in the middle. Sandhills Shooter. Shooter, all one word. There, we'll put that back. I don't know how the company would feel about me going live when I'm technically on the clock, but I'm in my vehicle, so I'm not wasting any of their time. Hopefully it's not a problem. This way I don't have anybody mad at me for the logo showing. Coming up to Madison, Nebraska. I got for... What did I get from my lady? Well, I guess I already answered that one, huh? So Night Wolf and LaRue have sounded off. Is there anybody else out there that wants to let me know you're watching? Is my sister one of them? I don't know that my sister has a YouTube account that she can make comments on, but I know sometimes she watches my stuff. The other day I put one video up. I was just goofing around with a new webcam at my house. It was up for all of 5 minutes, and I got a text that says, "Hey, where's your neck brace?" So I know she was watching then. But nope, I've got basically a clean bill of health now from the doctors. So, and I haven't been wearing the neck brace much anyway. But I asked, I said, should I feel guilty about not wearing it? And she's nah. She said just use some common sense. And I said, well, that's not a problem. I've been using common sense. And then she kind of gave me a dirty look, which meant probably I wasn't using common sense if I wasn't wearing it. But she didn't give me any kind of physical therapy or anything like that. So that was pretty cool. And each day feels a little bit better than the last. It's a good looking old pickup, huh? Welcome to Madison, Nebraska. So what other questions does everybody have for me? I've kind of, like I said, I did my rant. Hopefully you guys caught that, and if you didn't, hopefully you'll go back and watch it. People are coming and going. I'm not that entertaining anymore. I'm done talking about Timmy now, and watching me drive, I guess, isn't doing it. So Night Wolf, you're the only one I can count on to talk to me, I guess. Everybody always wants to know what I'm carrying or if I'm carrying or that kind of stuff. I'm going to turn the tables around. Let me know what kind of carry gun you're carrying, or if you are. Let's see what kind of responses we get back from that. Not put a whole lot of attention on the phone here at this intersection. The highway traffic doesn't stop. Glock 19 Gen 3. It is a sweet little small town, isn't it? Hold on here while I pull out onto the highway. Hold on while I pull out. There we go. Listen to them horses run. Works pretty slick. It's not just a live video, it's also a dash cam. I need to figure out a good shock absorber for when I'm driving, so you guys know I don't get sick. And maybe I should slow the butt down just a hair. There we go. Now we're back down to where we're not going to get pulled over. That's not something I want on the live streams. You have to stop and talk to Madison County's finest. Sure, they're nice. They're going to get a new boss here later on this year. The sheriff, the way I understand it, is retiring, so everybody and their uncle seems to be running for sheriff. Pop right up there. I know people have mixed feelings for Glocks, but I've never had an issue. You know what? I don't have a Gen 3, but I have a Gen 4, and that thing has gone off every time I've pulled the trigger. I've had 2 malfunctions ever. When it was brand new, I had 2 stovepipes failures to completely eject, and I'll tell you, I think it was because the magazines were brand new, because I could barely load them. It was all I could do, and I didn't have my up lula at that point, so it was just the old-fashioned hurt your thumb and load. But it was all I could do to get the 14th round in those magazines. All 3 of them that came with the Gen 4s typically come with 3 mags, and all 3 of them were like that. So I loaded 14 and just let them sit, and after about 2 weeks, then that 15th round would go in. And now that I've cycled through them, and I've unloaded them, loaded them a few times, and of course I've shot the magazine, the ammo out of them a few times too, several. But now we don't have any problems. So I've never had a failure to feed, never had a failure to eject, I've never had a misfire. It's just eaten everything I've ever put in it, round nose or hollow point or anything. New mags for any gun like that. I don't have a whole lot of experience with different guns yet. I mean, I of course watch all the videos that everybody else is watching when somebody's doing a review, and I play with them at gun shows, or sometimes I'll be in a store, and there won't be anybody up at the counter taking up the salesman's time, or I shouldn't say it that way. The salesman won't be busy with paying customers, and I don't mind taking up their time to show me a gun that I'm probably not going to walk out with, but I get to play with them in the gun store, Cabela's gun counter, something like that. So I mean, I have manipulated a lot of different models of gun, but I just haven't shot all that many, and I just haven't got my collection grown very big yet. So pretty much just my carry guns is all I have to speak about. But I've got the Glock 19 and I've got the M&P Shield 9mm. And people can say what they want, but 9mm is good enough for me. Hopefully I'll never have to find out how well it works or it doesn't. But when we bought the Glock, Mrs. Sandhills sweetheart, was with me. We picked one out that fit my hand and hers both. And I didn't want her to learn to shoot a 40 or a 45 or something that was gonna, turn her off to shooting. She'd only pulled the trigger on maybe one other gun, and it was her brother's Raging Judd. And I don't know if it had 410s in it or what it had, but I mean, all she knew was it was big, it was heavy, it was loud, and it had some recoil to it. And that's all she knew about the gun that she shot. So I wanted something that wasn't going to be super intimidating. So 9mm it is. Plus I get to have those couple extra rounds over 40 or 45. So having 15 in the magazine and one in the chamber, it's not a problem for me. Thank God I live in a state where I can have 15 in my magazine. I took it to Colorado once, and that's their cutoff. Unless that's changed, that was the cutoff at that time. 15 round magazine, 16 round not allowed. Which rules out like some of the M&Ps, and some of the Berettas, I think. And of course the Glock 17. You have to get a special magazine for that then. I believe the 17 comes standard with the 17 round mag. So eventually we'll grow the collection, but it's awful hard to grow the collection when you have expensive taste like I do. I've been pining for 2 different guns. I've been pining for a Browning for years and years. Since before I met Sandhills sweetheart, I've wanted one of those. And then one day, I was looking at the A-Bolt 3. Just their cheap synthetic stock. And it was, even that gun was $500 or $600. And I started looking at that, and then I compared it to the X-Bolt, and I just decided, no, I'll just wait until I can have the one I really want. There's a difference in the construction. Difference in the bolt, the extractor, all that stuff. It's just there's a lot more metal to the extractor on an X-Bolt. That's one of the things I liked. Last thing I want is to shoot a deer and hit one and have it not go down, and then my extractor break and I'm stuck. So I know that's not likely to happen for hundreds or thousands of rounds, but still. I just like the fit, the finish, everything better on the X-Bolt. I like that short little bolt throw. I only bring the handle up to about horizontal, pull it back so you never pinch your thumb up against your scope. I've got a scope picked out, but because the rifle is expensive, I haven't bought a scope yet. Maybe for my birthday I'll get that, we'll see. Pretty sure that it's a foregone conclusion. It'll be scoped and ready to go by the time it's deer season, but that doesn't happen here till November. So we've got some time to put some money aside to get the Vortex Diamondback that I really want. If you guys have experience with deer rifles and Vortex scopes, let me know. Let me know your comments. I'm looking up the Diamondback HP. I want the 4 to 16 power by 42 model. Oh, I found a decent scope. What I haven't decided, I've decided on the scope. I was in a gun store in South Dakota the other day, and I looked at the scope. I'd been looking at them online, and then I looked at that one, and yeah, that 4 to 16 by 42 Vortex Diamondback HP series, that's a nice scope. And compared to my $60 Tasco that I'm used to shooting on the old 243, I think it's gonna. What I really need to find some bases and some rings and figure out if I want to go with some Weaver or Picatinny style bases, or if I just one piece the base and ring are all one piece of aluminum. The only other thing that moves is the top half of the ring, you know, like always, but you don't put the base on and then attach the ring to it. It's basically into the receiver. I've been thinking about doing that. Tally makes a set that look like they're pretty good quality. I've heard good things about Tallies. I think Browning might even make a set that's just a one-piece base and ring like that. Now, one thing I'm not too concerned about on a Browning is the holes not being squared up, you know, so the bases wouldn't be quite in alignment. With that setup the X-Bolt has with 4 screws on each scope base, I'm pretty sure that's not going to allow for anything to not be lined up right. So, and I don't think I want a one-piece base, full rail. I want as much access as I can into the breech. A lot of the time, if I'm sighting in, I don't bother loading up the magazine. I just shoot it single shot. And if I ever have to dig a case out or something, I want to be able to get my fingers in there. Remington and Savage aren't bad rifles. I've owned them both. I would agree to that. What I've been shooting for several years now, it actually used to be my dad's old Coyote rifle. It's a 243. It's a Remington model 788. And you've got to be a day or two old to remember those, or be like me and have one. They don't sell those anymore. You can still find them at gun shows, but they cost about 3 times as much now as what they did new. But that 788 was kind of a bargain rifle, kind of like what their 783 is that they sell right now. And I don't know what it is with me and maple, but this thing had a maple stock. It's not walnut. The lugs are on the back end of the bolt, not the front, but it's still got 3 lugs, or 3 sets of lugs instead of 2, so it doesn't have a very high throw either for the bolt, but it's a good shooting little gun. It about got ruined. It sat in the basement for a while. The basement had flooded. Now the gun was up out of the water, but it was just in a wood and glass gun cabinet. It wasn't sealed up, airtight. It wasn't in with any desiccant or dehumidifier. So, and I'm not going to throw my old man under the bus, but somebody that wasn't me or anybody else but him left it loaded with one in the chamber, and then the dang thing rusted shut. And it took a gunsmith some working on it to get it open, get that round extracted. And then it had a little bit of rust in the bore. And so, a fellow that I knew was an old ordnance man in the Navy way back in the Vietnam era, so he knew what to do, and we got it all cleaned up, and turned out it was just a little bit of surface rust. So the bore wasn't, the rifling wasn't damaged or anything. We got it all cleaned up and shined up, and it might not shoot, you know, sub-minute of angle at 100 yards, but it's still, the gun's more accurate than the nut behind the bolt, I can tell you that much. I'm really curious to see what this new Browning is going to do. That and the 16 power scope. But where I hunt, there's a few well, most of the places there's times that I would take a shot at a longer range, but I'm aware of what my gun can and can't do, and I don't take a chance of wounding a deer. If I don't know 100% that I can kill it with one shot, I'm not going to shoot. And that 243 is good out to a certain distance, but if it's much over 200 or 250 yards, I'm not taking that chance. Whereas with the 270, I've killed a deer at 100 or maybe a little bit more than that, further out than that, 350 or maybe a touch over. I didn't have a laser at the time to measure exactly, so I just tried to step it off, but yeah, I really like the 270. It gives me almost the same trajectory as a 243, but it's also giving me 30% more mass in my bullet at the other end, so I really like that extra punch that it gives me further ranges. And my shoulder likes the fact that it's not a 300 or something like that. So that's decent. I've owned 270s in the past, a couple of them. So the quest begins to get the scope and the rings and the bases, get it all put together. I'll probably go ahead and spend the extra money on a level kit too, so I make sure that everything's lined up right. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right, and I don't want to pay somebody to do it. I want to learn to do it the right way. So I'll get all the stuff I need. I thought about getting the actual, like a Wheeler or a Lyman scope mounting kit. It comes with the alignment guide, the lapping compound, and all that. And I don't know that I want to go that far. That's going to be quite necessary, where I'm not going to be a sniper with the thing. As long as it, you know, as long as I can hit a pie plate at 200, 300 yards, that's all I need. Minute of deer accuracy is what I need. I just want to hit the vitals. So, well, we are almost back to work. And I've got a couple hours yet before I'm done for the day, so I'm not going to be wasting the company's time while I'm live. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Night Wolf and LaRue, thanks for commenting. Everybody else, thanks for watching. And give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and share the video if you liked it. at least the very beginning of it, well, maybe people will watch about little Timmy slowly picking away at our rights. Hopefully we get the word out. We're not going to allow this kind of stuff, and we need to not sit idly by. We need to tell our lawmakers we're not putting up with this baloney. So thanks everybody for joining me, and you guys have a great rest of your day. God bless.